Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. This is the complete story of MAUER der TOTEN. It follows on from my complete story videos for Die Machine, Firebase Z, and Outbreak, all of which are linked in the description. Now, while I am aiming to be concise where possible so the video isn't 3 hours long, if there's a particular character or topic that you think deserves a follow-up video in more depth, then you are welcome to make requests in the comments section. I also want to thank Andy Denny's for helping me record the last bits of intel that I didn't have. Thanks to Andy, I can integrate all the relevant stuff into this video. So, kick back, relax, grab a cool drink maybe, and enjoy. This is the full story of MAUER der TOTEN. Our tale begins this time in the 1940s, specifically 1943, when Project Endstation is created as part of the Reich's atomic research program. Dr. Ulrich Vogel is appointed as director alongside Dr. Kurtz, and at the start of 1944, Ulrich has a daughter. Her name is Angelika, and she, in many ways, is our main character in MAUER. Flash forward a year to December 1944. A new top-secret German operation is established as a contingency plan in case the Germans lose the lead in the war. Its name is Operation Balder, and its goal is simple. Dr. Vogel will send a military task force of German soldiers through a dimensional portal created by the Project Endstation cyclotron, and they can then be called upon whenever the time is right for Germany to take its revenge upon the world. Flash forward 1 month, and Operation Balder is about to get up and running. However, just before Vogel initiates the cyclotron, he's interrupted by Dr. Kurtz.
Task Force Balder is in position. I am powering up the cyclotron, and we are about to embark on this...
Dr. Vogel? Sorry. I did not know you were recording.
Why are you here, Dr. Kurtz? Did you not read my final orders?
Ja, Herr Doktor. That is what I wish to speak about. This last part. About your daughter.
I know it is asking a lot, Kurtz. And I know you and I have not always seen eye to eye. But I trust no one more than you to look after Angelika when I am gone. If nothing else, you are thorough.
I am honored, sir. But this may not be necessary. I beg you, do not evacuate the facility before launching the operation. With the staff here, there's a chance we can stabilize the collider and safely...
Kurtz, stop. You showed me yourself how Operation Balder will surely overload the power couplings. But calling it off would doom the Reich. This, my friend, is the only path forward. Take her. Teach her. Be there. Both of you. When Operation Balder bears fruit, finish my work. Make sure the staff clears out. Get to safety. Live a long life. And tell Angelika her father loved her. I will alert the task force when the breach is stable, and I will see them through alone. Understood?
Jawohl, Herr Doktor. You will not be forgotten.
If the Reich lives on, it will all be worth it.
With their last conversation now over, Kurtz flees the facility, with Vogel's words ringing in his ears. When Operation Balder bears fruit, finish my work. Meanwhile, Vogel activates the cyclotron, but just as Kurtz predicted, this causes a massive power spike, and the power at the facility is actually overloaded. The army does successfully pass through and into the dark ether, but Vogel is forced to remain inside the facility to ensure the safe passage of Task Force Balder. The other staff members who previously worked at Endstation successfully evacuate, but they aren't out of the woods yet. Endstation is located in Morasko, Poland, which the Russians have been gaining control over more and more with every passing day. As a result of this, while fleeing the area, Dr. Kurtz is actually captured by by a Russian infantryman.
This is Colonel Pavel Lazarev interrogating prisoner Lucas Kurtz on 2nd of February 1945. Dr. Kurtz, you worked at Project End Station. Why did you and so many others desert the facility?
We were ordered to evacuate. We did our duty to the fatherland. That is all you will get out of me.
I lost 14 men shutting down the mess you left behind, so I have very little patience for bravado or delays of any sort. You will talk.
Do what you want to me. I don't care anymore.
Perhaps not, Dr. Kurtz. But if you do not immediately tell me where the rest of the end station staff went, I will have that little girl we found hiding with you shot.
No! Wait. Angelica has done nothing. She only sought shelter from the fighting.
She matters to you, and for that, she will die.
Kill her, and you will lose any leverage you have over me. But I'm willing to strike a bargain if it will save her life.
Go on.
I will tell you where the rest of the end station staff are hiding. Only if you agree to spare Angelica and allow me to look after her.
An interesting proposal. But even I would not consign a child to be raised as a Nazi. So here is my counter-proposal. You come back to Mother Russia and continue your work. For me. She will receive a proper Bolshevik education and become a productive member of society. But only if you give up your comrades.
How do I know you will keep your end of the bargain?
Because you are going to make yourself too valuable to execute. Starting right fucking now. Understood?
Bring me a map. I will give you names and locations.
Kurtz chooses to make the difficult decision to honor Vogel's wishes and trades away the lives of his ex-end station colleagues in order to save the life of young Angelica, who at this point is barely 1 year old. The pair of them do as the Russian, Lazarev, suggests and travel into Russia, where they attempt to integrate into their new lives as Angelica grows up. As part of the process, they choose a new name for her, which sounds a bit more Russian. Angelica Hannibal Vogel becomes Alexandra Valentina. Flash forward 5 years or so. Alexandra is no longer a baby, and one day she is approached by a strange apparition, an unnerving, ghostly spectre which calls out to her. And being a child, she's terrified by the ghost at first, but is then surprised and enamored when it calls out to her by her real name, Angelica Hannibal Vogel. She realizes the ghost must be her father. Who else would know her true identity? And who else would come looking for her? So from that point on, she was no longer scared of the ghost and would take its advice through key moments in her life, one of which came when she was accepted into university.
Ah, is that my tea?
Yes, Uncle Lucas.
Alexandra, would you join me for a moment? There's a matter we should discuss.
Of course. What is it?
I was hoping you could enlighten me to the meaning of this envelope I received today. Dear Miss Valentina, on behalf of the Committee on Admissions, your application to the Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology has been formally accepted. We had an agreement. Anything you wanted in life, I would support you. Except one thing.
Uncle, please, I can explain.
You promised me you gave up this foolish pursuit. Do you know where this road leads? I have seen it, lived it. Horrors you could not possibly imagine.
But I am good at it. The world out there, the factory, I do not understand. But this, physics and microbiology.
I saw what it did to your father. It took years before I understood the pain we caused, the atrocities we committed. I will not allow you to follow in his path.
You do not understand. I must. He told you I must complete his work. Take her. Teach her. Be there, both of you, when Operation Boulder bears fruit.
What did you say? How could you possibly know that? This acceptance letter is going in the trash. Better yet, the fire.
No!
We shall not speak of this again.
Kurtz is deeply concerned by what he hears. Vogel's final request all those years prior had been for Kurtz and Angelica to be there when Operation Balder bore fruit. And somehow, she knows the exact words spoken in that conversation, despite being 1 year old when it happened. He decides to follow up with her the next day to try and resolve the argument.
Alexandra, is it time for tea already?
Yes, Uncle. Be careful. It is quite hot.
Tea can never be too hot. Alexandra, can I have a moment, please? About our discussion yesterday. I know you may not appreciate it now, but please understand my only concern is for your well-being. Your father was a complicated man. It was a different time. What we did was wrong. I only wish to protect you from the mistakes we made.
I understand, Uncle Lucas. But I do not agree.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
My father was a brilliant man, and you were a pathetic worm lurking in his shadow.
How dare you?
How dare I? How dare you denounce his work? How dare you sit there and feed me lies?
Careful, Alexandra. Your father...
I will go to university, Uncle. You will not stop me. Father is disappointed you lost your way. You abandoned Operation Boulder.
The tea... What have done, Alexandra?
My name is Angelica Hannibal Vogel. My father has a plan, and I will help him complete it. It is finished, Father. I did as you instructed. Do you approve? Father?
Valentina successfully evades suspicion by flagging the death of Kurtz as a heart attack. After all, the authorities have no way of knowing that a ghostly voice is in her head, encouraging her to kill him, and so she goes on to university. Flash forward to the 1980s, when the Cold War zombie storyline kicks into gear. Valentina is now head of psychotronics research at Omega Group, having joined the KGB some years prior. Her ulterior motives involving the ghost are not yet known, and her new position of power means that she can begin to set the scene for the culmination of her plan, and do so in secret. That plan, of course, being to free her father and his army from the Dark Ether, and finally complete Operation Balder after 40 long years of waiting. To do so, she knows she needs to find a way to pierce the dimensional membrane which separates the Dark Ether from the world that we live in, and her ghostly ally helps her with this, directing her to a secret secondary end station research lab located underneath Berlin. It was closed off to the rest of the world at the end of the Second World War and has been undisturbed ever since. And inside, she finds a note from her father, written all the way back in 1945, which reads as follows. The day of our victory is at hand. Task Force Balder awaits in the other dimension. It is up to you to free them from the darkness. You must complete assembly of the atomic device. Collect and fuse the necessary Exo-Element 1 crystals. They will require refinement before the process is complete, and for this you will need a specimen rich in Exo-Element 1. Their altered generic structure contains the necessary energy to refine the crystals. If you don't have a specimen, you must go to the Marasco facility and reactivate the portal. Once the conversion process has been completed, transport the device to the end of the tunnel and detonate. The tunnel's structure will stabilize the breach, though it may still require monitoring. There is possibility that when the gateway is opened, you'll be pulled inside. If this happens, know that your sacrifice was not in vain. Our return to power is all but assured. We will ascend to the throne betrothed to us. So, that's a pretty clear order of operations, and now Valentina knows what she needs to do in order to open the gateway. So, she gets to work, and when the preliminary steps are finished, including procuring a nuclear device from in Berlin, more on that later, she is spoken to again by the voice in her head.
You have done well. You have made me so
And now, at last, our time has come. A lifetime of preparation is about to be rewarded. Soon, you will reveal yourself. A threat so close, they never saw it coming. How long have we awaited this day? How many times have you proven yourself to them, made them value and respect you? The better to plunge your blade in their backs. Gather your things. Bid farewell to this false life you lead. Go to Berlin. Everything is in place.
We are waiting. We are ready. Initiate the process, and your labor of love will at last be complete.
So, with everything in position, she travels through the portal and into the dark ether.
Father, I did it. I told you we would be together again. Really together. And here I am.
My child, I knew you would come. I never lost faith in you, as you never lost faith in me. Tell me, my clever Angelica, did you have any trouble crossing into the dark ether?
None. The portal you hid in Berlin worked perfectly, and Omega is none the wiser. Their trust in Alexandra Valentina was as blind as it was complete. I suppose a lifetime of living a lie has finally paid off.
Indeed, but your work is far from finished. We have reached the moment of truth for Operation Balder.
I know, Father. And I am ready. I did not spend all those years playing a Soviet lackey just to fall short of the prize now. Marching jackboots will once again echo down the streets of Berlin like thunder. The glory of the fatherland will be restored. This, I swear to you, Task Force Balder is coming home.
Valentina is elated that the plan is working out successfully. As she says, her lifetime of living a lie is finally paying off. However, there's more to her efforts here than simply seeking glory for the fatherland. Let's explore it a little bit. Remember, Valentina started life as a refugee. Her mother died shortly after childbirth, and her father was left at End Station in the height of the Second World War, leaving her with no memories of her parents and no one to care for her but Kurtz. She was forced, as a result of the war, to flee her home country, and on top of that, the opaque shroud of secrecy surrounding her father's work would mean that she never had any hope of ever truly understanding where she came from or who she truly was. She wouldn't ever have been able to really comprehend and rationalize the traumatic events she had been forced to live through, especially at such a young age, if, and only if, the ghost had never appeared in her head. But the ghost did talk to her, and in doing so, it gave her hope. Despite all the tragedies of her life so far, all of the confusion and all of the pain, she suddenly had a second chance, a link back to her past, and most importantly, an opportunity to make the father that she never knew proud. And so, as she reaches the Dark Ether and speaks to her father in his kinda dimension for the first time, it's these thoughts that are roaring in the back of her head, and she can't help but ask him about it.
Father, I have always wondered about the day you crossed into the Dark Ether. What happened exactly? I understand you were doing your duty, but I have always wondered, why did you leave me?
That was a difficult day, Angelica. One I try not to think about. What mattered then was getting Task Force Balder in place. What matters now is completing the mission.
Of course, Father. I meant only that abandoning me must have been almost as difficult for you as it was for me.
But I never abandoned you. The fact that you are here is testament to that. Now, are you prepared for what comes next? If you are to lead our army, you must ascend.
My body means no more to me than the name I left behind. I will proudly remold it for the honor of leading the charge to reclaim Germania. My entire life has built toward this moment.
As has mine, child. As has mine.
Despite her efforts to cover some sorely needed emotional ground and open up with her father about how hard her life has been in leading up to this moment, Vogel remains focused. What matters to him is completing the mission, and to do so, Valentina has to give up her body and become one with the Dark Ether. He isn't interested in comforting her, even though she may need it now more than ever, because from his perspective, the mission comes before all else. And so, Valentina follows her father's wishes one more time, and moments later, she ascends.
Father, it worked.
You look every bit as glorious as I envisioned. How do you feel, my child?
How do I feel? I feel incredible. I thought I knew what it was to wield power before. Now power sings in every fiber of my being. Nothing will stand against us.
Then go to the head of our army and lead them to glory. Unleash the judgment of the Reich on the soft, weak ingrates who sullied the fatherland.
Tell them their day is done. The sun sets forever upon their divided world.
Father, are you my father?
Of course, child. My time here has left its mark on me. But I am the one who guided you to this moment. I am still me. Now go. Make me proud one final time. The Reich must rise from the ashes.
For the first time, the mask of the ghostly spectre purporting to be her father slips, and Valentina notices, and she's concerned, and she asks about it. Is this really my father? And quickly she is brushed aside. Vogel just goes straight to making an appeal for the little girl inside her, the lonely, abandoned child who wants nothing more than to make her father proud. And so he leverages this for what he needs her to do. He says, "Make me proud one final time," and so she does. Operation Balder is in motion. In the events of the second Outbreak Easter egg, Kravchenko kidnaps the Requiem operators that we play as and also captures their pilot, Raptor 1. They are taken to a secret facility in Potsdam and are held captive there. Meanwhile, the Colonel has noticed Valentina's intensifying interest in Berlin recently, and finally realizes she's actually gone missing. An investigation begins, and it's discovered that Valentina's personal records and history were all forged. We already knew this, of course, because I just told you that, but her true identity as daughter of Ulrich Vogel is now known to the Colonel, and he is absolutely furious about it.
I took Alexandra under my wing. I supported her projects, gave her unparalleled access to resources. I came to think of her as the daughter I never had. But it was all a lie. She used me. She used us all. She must be stopped.
Kravchenko is also aware that there is something else going on with her. There's something in her head, guiding her hand to unleash the forces of the Dark Ether into the real world. Through secret contact from an unknown source within Requiem, as well as communication with Zykov, a Russian soldier trapped in the Dark Ether, Kravchenko reaches a more complete understanding of the situation. The ghost in Valentina's head is none other than the Forsaken, a being which has appeared relatively recently and quickly risen up the food chain as possibly the most powerful entity in the whole of the Dark Ether. Now that's nice and all, but Kravchenko's in an awkward position here. He's got to be careful how he proceeds from this point. To be specific, he's got 3 major pain points that he needs to carefully address. 1. Task Force Balder could be released back into the real world if Valentina is not stopped. 2. Public knowledge that Valentina defected would definitely raise the eyebrows of his superiors, so he has to try and stop her in secret if possible, or else face some really serious consequences and potentially lose his life. 3. The Forsaken One might also be released into the real world by Valentina, and even if she is stopped, the threat that the Forsaken One poses dwarfs any other threat worldwide and really is his top priority as leader of the Omega Group. Based on those 3 points, the Colonel needs someone to do his dirty work for him in secret, and the Requiem operatives in Potsdam are a perfect candidate. He separates them from Raptor 1 and threatens to take the life of Raptor 1 if they don't comply.
That is enough, Gorif. We still need him able to speak. Remove the gag.
How are you feeling, pilot man, eh? Ready to tell us name?
Call sign Raptor 1. Captain. United States Air Force, service number FR-16986342. Peace is our profession.
Ah, still you persist with brainwashed American loyalty nonsense. Colonel?
Again.
Feeling more sociable? Or do we need more icebreaker?
Call sign Raptor 1. Captain. United States Air Force, service number FR-16986342. Peace is our profession.
We have plenty of time, pilot cowboy. This is not Western spaghetti. You are not man with no name.
Well, anything new to share?
Yeah. Call sign Raptor 1. Captain. United States Air Force. Service number FR 16 98 6342. Peace is our profession. But you can go fuck yourself.
Finally. Progress.
Now, the idea of using Requiem agents in this way doesn't go unnoticed by Gorev, who mentions it to Kravchenko.
Something on your mind?
Would their termination not send a stronger message to the West? We apprehended them operating on our soil. We should make a statement, a demonstration of strength that inspires our brothers.
Yes, comrade. We should send a message. And we will. In time. But first, I have work for them in Berlin. A certain member of our organization has gone to ground recently. I'm sure you've noticed their absence. I believe they are scheming against us, and will take action in Berlin. We must use Requiem's team to stop them, and keep the Kremlin in the dark.
Sir.
This department will not survive another scandal. Using Requiem's team keeps it off the books, and keeps the news from our necks. Smile, Gorev. We may yet live through this.
And so, the decision is made and the scene is set. On February 2nd, 1985, the Requiem operators are deployed onto a Berlin rooftop with the colonel barking orders into their ears.
Find the Omega traitor Valentina. Her undead army must be stopped. Get it done, or your pilot pays the ultimate price.
While the operators get their bearings, some of the other members of Omega have a little chat over the comms about all these recent developments.
Sorry, I am just getting up to speed here. So Valentina's father was Ulrich Vogel, lead scientist at Project Endstation? I can feel the plot thickening.
That plot is her belief that her father hid a Nazi army in the Dark Ether, and that she has a blood oath to unleash it upon the world.
I'm hardly surprised Valentina is a double agent. Though her father being in charge of Project Endstation. Oh boy, that's a doozy.
She's the daughter of a Nazi scientist and believes she is completing his mission. She's not a doozy. She's delusional. Restore the power to this district. You won't find her in the dark. Good. Valentina came searching for Endstation's Berlin lab. It must be nearby.
With the power now back on, the crew discover a broken down robot in an underground safe house, and so they go about repairing it.
Bring those back to the lab. I could use them. Slap some sense into you. What are you going to do with a battery? Come to think of it, what was a Krasny Soldat going to do with a battery?
Finally. Have you any idea how bored I was just waiting for something to do? Sorry. Hello, I am Klaus. I am here to help you. It is in my programming. Not that I know who actually programmed me. Was it Langley? Do you know what a Langley is? I am not sure. But I do not think it is anything bad. Trust me, I am here to help.
So Klaus the robot assures them that he's here to help, and the search for the Endstation lab continues. While exploring, the crew find a Cerberus wonder weapon in a safe, and they take it with them to aid in their fight through the undead.
How about that? Fresh fingers for my trigger. The name's Cerberus. Let's not stand on ceremony and get to work.
Sleek design, shiny silver chrome, inspired futuristic aesthetic. Where's my pen? I should be taking notes.
Both Klaus and the Cerberus are actually Requiem technology. They were sent to Berlin by the director of Requiem before the operators even arrived. In both cases, this was done in total secrecy. Klaus was actually being worked on by Dr. Gray and wasn't ready for field work when he was literally stolen out of her laboratory and sent to Germany regardless. And similar goes for the Cerberus. Dr. Carver and Dr. Strauss at Requiem HQ protested that it wasn't finished. Its vocalization module, in fact, was not even installed yet. But unbeknownst to them both, the director secretly took recordings of Carver, Strauss, and Gray and created a baseline for the Cerberus' AI to adopt and synthesize each individual's voice and personality, and that's why the gun speaks as one of those 3 people. And on top of all of that, this wasn't all that the director sent to Berlin. When the outbreak in the city first appeared, he had a special atomic demolition munition brought to the CIA safehouse on the East German side of the wall, so that an inversion warhead could be constructed. Now, isn't that interesting? That Valentina needed to use a warhead, and before anything's even been discovered about what she's doing, the director has sent one of the building blocks, if you like, of one of these warheads to Berlin. Upon delivery, the warhead sent by the director was placed into the care of Agent Rico and Agent Jack, 2 characters that I'll talk about in more detail in my in-depth video surrounding the history and origins of Klaus. However, for now, all you need to know is neither Rico nor Jack survived to complete their mission, and thus the warhead that they were caring for was lost. Moving back to Klaus real quick, he was also sent a direct order straight from the director himself upon his arrival in Berlin, and it contained the following information. Subject, complete your mission. You have your orders, the security of Project Janus is your top priority. Contain this situation, find and destroy the intercepted communique, and then tie up all loose ends. We cannot allow this to get out. All of this stuff was done in secret. The director didn't disclose any information about his true plans to anybody, and so when the Klaus robot happily says to the Requiem operators that he is here to help, they believe him. This faith is quickly rewarded moments later when the robot helps them break into the end station lab that they've been looking for. How convenient. However, they're met with a surprise when they get in there.
Always able to help. That's me. This is it. Project End Station's Berlin lab. Valentina is in there. Find a way through.
Laser mod is built to open doors. Walls, people too, actually.
Once you are in the lab, Valentina must be stopped. Kill her. Or take her into custody. So I may kill her.
Kravchenko, Omega. It was only a matter of time. Is this your feeble attempt to stop me? Too little, too late. I have already entered the dark ether. My ascension begins, and my army approaches the breach. The Reich will have their revenge.
Fucking psycho Nazi bitch. Colonel, if she's already in there, if that army is already on the way...
Quiet. We do not accept defeat. There must be a way to stop her. We need to close the portal before they get here.
Undeterred by the discovery that Valentina's ascension has already taken place, the crew move forward, looking for a solution. Meanwhile, Kravchenko radios in with his thoughts on the situation.
The Reich planned all this. A mission to send a Nazi army across time to claim their revenge. Though they did not expect the Dark Ether to corrupt them, nor to be led by a creature more twisted than Vogel. You should know, Requiem. Valentina believes she is acting on her father's orders, that he is alive, leading her army. In truth, it is a Dark Ether entity known as the Forsaken. It can shift its form, manipulating others, and right now, it wants to get into our world. If the Forsaken were to get into our world, it would destroy us. My inversion warheads were meant to stop it. You didn't know, did you? What did you think they were for? To destroy the West? You were operating on bad intelligence, I'm afraid. The truth is, you destroyed the only safeguard we had. I am surprised you are unaware of the Forsaken. How do you think we knew? We learned from our contact in Requiem. Your organization has known about this entity longer than we have. And they left you completely in the dark. Are you sure you can trust your leaders?
My tormentors! Reclaim that which is ours!
Re-energized by Kravchenko's words, and also a little worried about them, the crew are re-energized, and the operators start to search through the equipment and machinery that Valentina left behind in hopes that some of it may present an opportunity to stop her. And that's exactly what it does.
Those essence canisters were recently discarded. Maybe Valentina used them to open the portal. Huh. That looks like one of our Omega traps, but older. son of a bitch! It's a goddamn Tempest lure. We used it to create the warheads. Were they doing something similar? This machine contains everything you need to build an inversion device. It could open a breach, like my warheads, but on a smaller scale. Valentina probably built one to open the portal. Wait, if we make our own and detonate it in the dark ether, it should have the inverse effect and close the portal, stopping Valentina. Back, you sly dog. You're a genius.
Requiem. Sounds like you need to find a nuke. Given your history, that should not be a problem.
You will construct an inversion warhead? Clever idea. I'm not surprised it was Pex. He needed to be the smartest person in the room. Huh. It will make no difference. Even if you found the warhead, it would still be too late. You are out of time.
Peck's idea becomes the crew's focus, and they get to work on tracking down what Agent Rico had lost.
I surprise myself sometimes. But please, hurry. I'm not invincible, you know.
Clearly, Valentina isn't going to roll over that easily, though.
You think this will work? I have spent years planning this, dedicated my life to it. First, I infiltrated the KGB, then Omega, and convinced them to reactivate the cyclotron. Do you think a simple nuke could stop me?
To construct the inversion nuke that they're hoping will help them close the portal, because inversion nukes can open or close outbreak zones, the operators need uranium, and Peck tells them to make use of Requiem's famous disruptor satellite.
Where's the uranium? Christ, did one of the megatons take it? Those fuckers kept stealing my samples when I was building the warheads. Find a way to get it back. You still have access to Requiem's disruptor satellite, don't you? The CIA mainframe. Oh, there must be a way to access the disruptor satellite from here.
In order to do so, they need to rely on Klaus once more, and he hacks into several access points for them so that they can get to work.
You know, this helm is pretty amazing. Like me. I can help you hack into the mainframe, if you're into that sort of thing. Honestly, I do not think you appreciate how helpful I am. I have already activated several access points. Go me.
How convenient.
Connection established. Systems nominal. Locking target. Initiating firing sequence. Firing in 3, 2, 1. Command. Apex HVT has been tethered.
That megaton will have corrupted the uranium. You'll need to find a way to decontaminate it. Surely you can figure that out. To decontaminate these pieces, you'll need to smash them together at high velocity. In Ruka, we had a machine to do that, but you're in a war zone. Clock's ticking, Requiem. That shit will detonate if you don't figure this out, and fast. Looks like your CIA buddies were developing a similar plan for when they recovered the uranium. That rocket might just work. Not as dumb as I thought you were. I can't believe you pulled it off. I thought you were dead. I mean, you could still die. That is uranium you're holding. It's still radioactive. You should get to the lab.
With one piece of uranium successfully cleansed on the zipline, they escort it back to the End Station lab only to find that they still need more, so they repeat the cleansing process.
Looks like we still need more.
Meanwhile, Valentina tells the operators a little more about why she's doing all this.
My father and the army were trapped in the dark ether. But his work was not finished. He began visiting me as a child. He told me what I had to do. He gave me a path to follow. How could I refuse? For the Reich's plan to be fulfilled, someone had to free their army. My father chose me to complete that mission.
Two pieces of cleansed uranium ends up being enough, but it needs to be refined. As Valentina emerges from the dark ether, Peck brings a suggestion to the table.
And we're back in business. The inversion warhead's almost complete. Now you just need to convert that raw Ethereum into flawless crystals.
Setting rally point.
I already told you. You are too late. We are here.
My God. Valentina, is that you? What have you become?
My name is Angelica Hannibal Vogel, daughter of Ulrich Vogel. I am here to complete his mission. The dawn of the new Reich begins now!
Requiem, your orders stand. The majority of her army and the Forsaken are still in the Dark Ether. Kill her. Close the portal.
Colonel, Valentina is now mostly composed of Ethereum. If we incapacitate her, we could use her ether energy to transform the crystals. 2 birds, 1 stone.
You still think you can kill me? My new form is incorruptible.
The battle is difficult, but the operators all craft themselves score streaks because we all know that you can just do that in combat, and they work great against big bad Dark Ether monsters.
No!
And so, Valentina is taken down. Clearly no match for a trusty death machine.
You will not take our future from us! I will not let you! No! It is not possible! I was chosen! It was foretold!
Take her. End this.
It cannot end like this. The mission, it cannot end! What have I done? How did this happen? Father, give me another chance. Bring me back to the ether. I can still lead us to glory. Father! Why have you forsaken me?
She hits the floor and is left incredulous, stunned at what has happened, and dismayed at the lack of help from that little ghost in her head. The one that more and more she is realizing is not just her father, but is also in many ways the Forsaken One, a combined entity now.
You cannot stop the Forsaken. He will consume this world.
Deliver the warhead to the Dark Ether. Let us be done with this.
I suppose this is the real reason why I'm here. Oh, well, it is important to feel needed. If you want me to survive, you could try doing something!
The inversion warhead is finally complete. All that is needed now is for someone to escort it into the Dark Ether, and Klaus is the perfect candidate. How convenient.
We are not finished. Your world will be mine.
Auf Wiedersehen.
The crew defend him as best they can, and Klaus gives us some fitting final words. The nuke appears to go off, but all the operators see is that the portal has closed. Immediately afterwards, they hear a message from Kravchenko.
Your ally, Raptor 1, is now free. All you need to do is come and collect him.
Boy, are you a sight for sore eyes.
I do appreciate your assistance, but regrettably, I cannot allow you to leave Berlin. До свидания, Requiem.
Clearly, Kravchenko thought that he would be able to take all the operators down with his chopper, but he evidently forgot the fact that he's a bad guy in a video game, so of course, he misses every single bullet. The crew also have a very convenient escape card hidden up their sleeve.
I'm trying to help you, but you need to be ready to move. Hurry! Get to the rooftop!
Thanks to Samantha's increasing control over the forces of the Dark Ether, she's able to save all of the Requiem operators, as well as Raptor 1. They're all teleported back to Requiem HQ, safe and sound. If this comes as a surprise, it really shouldn't do. Samantha's powers have been growing for a while now, and she previously opened portals in Vietnam to cause the outbreak at Firebase Z, so this is clearly part of her skill set. That said though, the tale is not quite told just yet. Watching Samantha's heroics on a CCTV camera is none other than the mysterious director himself. He jots down a memo while he watches, containing 4 key statements. 1. Valentina is no longer an issue. 2. Klaus completed his mission. 3. Project Janus may now proceed unimpeded. 4. Maxis presents a problem that must be dealt with. Now, the first statement there is evident. Valentina is clearly no more. The second is not as concrete though. Did you notice how lots of convenient things have happened in the events of the MAUER TOTEN story? We know that Klaus was sent to Berlin despite the fact that the rest of Requiem, like Weaver and Carver, etc., were unaware of it. We also know that the director sent through the bomb that we end up using to create the inversion warhead. We know that the director has ordered Klaus to keep Project Janus a secret and to tie up any loose ends, and Klaus then goes on a murderous rampage, killing American soldiers, his own brothers in arms, technically. And so with those sorts of things in mind, while we assume that the nuke has been exploded in the Dark Ether by Klaus, and that's the end of Klaus, and it's kind of mission accomplished, we don't actually know if Klaus fulfilling his mission means something else entirely. We assume he did what we think he did because of the fact that the portal closes, which shouldn't really happen unless the inversion warhead goes off. But as we didn't see it ourselves, I don't think we can really make any assumptions here. What if the plan all along was to keep the inversion warhead safe in the Dark Ether, ready for it to be activated or deployed by the director at some later date by simply sending another message to Klaus? And while normal people can't survive in the Dark Ether for very long, Klaus is the perfect candidate to do exactly that. He's a robot. He's going to have no trouble surviving there, and can thus wait as long as he needs to before the director calls on him again. And this is especially important because time works differently in the Dark Ether, and a mere few days in the real world is months in that dimension. This all ties in with statement number 3. What is the true meaning of Project Janus? Why does it need huge amounts of Ethereum to be diverted from other research projects, as we know has happened for months prior to the events of MAUER? What exactly is being planned? It's all a bit of a mystery. And finally, statement 4, Maxis is a problem? She's going to be dealt with somehow? It's all a bit ominous, isn't it? And it leads us perfectly into the culmination of the Cold War Zombies Dark Ether storyline coming in the next map. Rumor has it that it will be set in Spoosk Starly, an icy base full of Dark Ether portals and new wonder weapons, with lots of verticality, but it's kind of anyone's guess as to where we actually end up. However, here's a little taste of some of the things that we might see, and one thing that's definitely going to be coming. 1. The Forsaken One is probably going to reveal himself. 2. We may finally meet up with Edward Richtofen. 3. The director and his Project Janus will be revealed. 4. There's a strong chance this is going to set us up for the next Treyarch Zombies story, which is a huge deal in itself. And 5. I mentioned something would definitely be happening, and that's that I will be making a full story video of the next map as soon as it releases, extensively exploring all of the conclusions that we've been really waiting for months now, and tying up all of the loose ends that I've just mentioned to you. If you're excited for that, then now's the time to subscribe so you don't miss out. And I'll have links on screen to more full story videos like this one for you to click through to. Drop a like if you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.